When I proposed at a family cookout, my dad stole the ring and said it belonged to my brother, so I cut them off and built a life without them, never realizing the day they begged back was the day everything finally flipped. My name's Lucas. I grew up in a house where there were two sons but only one star. My brother Marcus was the star. He was the tall one, the athletic one, the one everybody looked at when we walked into a room. I was just the other kid. Even when we were little, it was obvious. My dad, Joseph, used to say things like, "Marcus was born ready for the big stuff." My mom, Eleanor, would nod like she was agreeing with a news report. They didn't say much about me. If they did, it was usually, "Lucas is quiet." In the baby album, my hospital bracelet photo is labeled Baby B in a different handwriting. Marcus's page has a caption and a smiley face. Mine doesn't. In middle school, I entered this city science fair. I stayed up for weeks building a little motor from scratch. It wasn't much, but it ran. I got third place. The teacher said it was one of the better projects that year. Nobody from my family came to see it. They said they were busy with Marcus's soccer practice. He was a striker, by the way. Fast kid, always scoring goals. My dad said, "You can't miss a game because scouts could be watching." This was 7th grade. There were no scouts. Marcus got a whole pizza party after one game where he scored twice. I got a good job when I came home with my little science fair ribbon. They didn't even hang it up. It sat on my dresser until it got lost. When I brought it up once, Dad said, "Well, Marcus is always out there. People see him. He represents the family." He actually said represents the family like we were a business. Meanwhile, I was just trying to make sure my shoes didn't squeak because they were too cheap. The only person who really noticed was my best friend, George. We called him Georgie because he hated it. He had this old blue bike with one handlebar wrapped in duct tape. He didn't care what people thought. He saw right through my parents' nonsense too. He was the first one I told about Luna later on. I met Luna when I was 16, working weekends at this local grocery store. She was in charge of the bakery section. I was bagging groceries. She had this way of asking real questions, not like, "How's it going?" but, "What do you actually want to do after school?" I didn't know what to say at first because nobody really asked me that before. My parents always talked about Marcus's future, scholarships, sports, college visits. Me? They said, "You'll figure something out." Luna didn't act like that. She actually listened when I talked about maybe wanting to do something with computers, maybe learn to code or fix things. She said, "You'd be good at that." Simple, but it stuck with me. One year we had this joint birthday party, Marcus and me, same day obviously, 16 candles each. Big deal, right? They handed Marcus the keys to a used dirt bike. Everyone cheered. I got a $20 gift card to a bookstore. My dad said, "Equal value, different interests." I'm pretty sure a dirt bike costs more than $20, but whatever. Even Marcus looked awkward about it. He handed me one of his cupcakes like it was some kind of peace offering. By the time high school rolled around, I had this quiet plan in my head. Graduate, save up, leave. Every soccer trophy Marcus brought home made it clearer. Every time Dad said, "Marcus makes us proud," it got sharper. It wasn't even Marcus's fault. He was just living his life. But I couldn't picture staying in that house one day longer than I had to. The only thing that made it easier back then was Luna. She'd walk home with me after shifts, carrying a bag of leftover bread the bakery was going to toss out. We'd eat it on the curb, talk about music, talk about anything but family stuff. She once said, "You're way too calm about how they treat you." I told her, "What's the point of yelling? They wouldn't hear it anyway." But in my head, I was already counting the days. High school was when everything really started to split apart. Marcus became this local legend on the soccer field. Friday nights, the whole school would show up to watch him play. Parents yelling from the bleachers, girls in his jersey number, teachers talking about college potential. Me, I was usually in the computer lab after school or working extra shifts at the grocery store. Nobody cheered for that. One spring, I got invited to this regional STEM thing through school. Basically, they picked a few kids from each district to visit the university labs, see experiments, meet professors. I was pumped. I told my parents a month in advance. The night before, Mom said, "We can't drive you. Marcus has a game in Riverdale." That was 40 minutes in the opposite direction. I said I could probably get a ride with George. She said, "Do that then." They didn't ask how it went when I got back. Meanwhile, Marcus scored 2 goals that night, and Dad told the story 3 times over dinner the next day. George was the only one who actually cared about my thing. He asked about the labs, the machines, the robots they showed us. He joked that I'd be building laser eyes for cats one day. It was dumb, but it felt good having someone in my corner. Luna asked too later. We were closing up the grocery store when she said, "So, did the professor people like you?" I told her one of them said I should apply for the summer coding program. "You going to do it?" she asked. "Maybe," I said. Truth was, I didn't even know how I'd pay for the bus to get there. One night, after another one of Marcus's games, we were all in the kitchen. Marcus was sweaty, still in his jersey, holding the shiny MVP medal. Dad kept talking like recruiters had him on speed dial, like Marcus was about to sign a pro contract at 17. I mentioned the summer coding program just to see if anyone cared. Mom said, "That's nice," without looking up from the dishes. Dad said, "How much does it cost?" I told him the fee. He whistled like I'd said $10,000. It wasn't even that much. "Maybe next year," he said. "Right now we have tournament fees coming up for Marcus." Marcus shifted uncomfortably, like he wanted to say something, but he didn't. Luna heard about the whole thing from me later and started this little jar at her place. She threw in tips from the bakery. I added my grocery store money. George tossed in coins from fixing bikes around the neighborhood. By the deadline we actually had enough. I signed up. My parents never asked how I got in. Senior year rolled around and things just kept stacking up. College mail started coming in. Marcus got letters from state universities about playing soccer. He signed with state on a soccer scholarship for the fall. I got a full tuition scholarship for computer science because of a project I did at the summer program. When I told Mom, she smiled politely and said, "That's good, Lucas." Then immediately asked Marcus if he needed new cleats for the fall season. Marcus tried talking to me a couple times that spring. Not about the parents, just random stuff. College plans, Luna, whatever. We weren't close, but he wasn't cruel either. It was like we lived parallel lives in the same house. One night he said, "You know, Dad brags about you sometimes at work, right? About the computer stuff." I shrugged. "Never heard it here." He didn't argue. He just nodded like he already knew. By the time graduation came, I had an envelope with some saved-up cash, a bus schedule, and a friend with a spare couch in another city. The plan was set. Graduation day was supposed to be a big deal. For once, I thought maybe things would feel even. Both their sons, same ceremony, same day, same stage. But deep down, I already knew how it would go. The morning started with Marcus getting ready in the living room, fixing his tie in the mirror while Mom adjusted his collar like he was about to meet the president. Dad kept saying, "Big day for the family," over and over. I was in the hallway waiting my turn, holding my gown on a plastic hanger. Nobody noticed. We got there late because Dad wanted to swing by and grab donuts for the road, but ended up chatting with the cashier about Marcus's last soccer season. By the time we parked, the ceremony had already started. We had to walk past rows of seated families while everyone turned to look. I lined up with the other grads, Luna and George waving from the crowd. My parents sat in the back, Dad craning his neck only when Marcus's name was close. They'd shown up late, the donut stop, and were still shuffling to the back when my name got called. If they clapped, I didn't see it. They called me up for my computer science scholarship. I walked across the stage, shook hands, smiled for the picture. The applause was polite, quick. 5 minutes later, Marcus walked up for his sports award, and the place went wild. People stood. The announcer made a joke about future pro athlete right here. Cameras flashed. My parents were on their feet like they were at a concert. After the ceremony, everyone gathered outside for photos. I tried to get one with both my parents, but they were too busy with Marcus and some local reporter who wanted a quote for the school newsletter. I ended up in one group shot where I'm half hidden behind Marcus's shoulder. We went to dinner after. Big family table, cousins, neighbors, even Marcus's coach showed up. It was noisy, everyone laughing, telling stories. I sat at the end next to George. When the food came out, Dad stood up with this big grin. He held up a small box and said, "For Marcus, our pride and joy. Here's something for your future." He handed over a set of car keys. Everyone clapped as Marcus held them up. "First real car, son," Dad said, clapping him on the back. "You'll need it for college, for your games, for life." Dad turned to me like he just remembered I existed. He slid a smaller box down the table. "And for Lucas, something useful too." I opened it. A watch. Cheap leather band, brand name I'd never heard of. He said, "Now you won't be late to your classes," like it was a joke. People chuckled politely. Luna squeezed my hand under the table. George muttered something about Dad needing glasses. I put the watch back in the box. "Thanks," I said. Because what else was I supposed to say? George leaned over and whispered, That thing probably loses time. I almost laughed, but didn't. Marcus looked uncomfortable, turning the car keys in his hand like he didn't want them anymore. He said, "Maybe we should have split the cost or something." Dad waved him off. "Don't be silly. You'll need it more. Lucas doesn't even drive." It was true, but still. After dinner, people gathered in the parking lot talking about Marcus's future. Some uncle was saying he'd make the draft one day. Mom nodded like it was already decided. Nobody asked about my college plans, not once. Luna finally spoke up. "Lucas got a scholarship too. You know, a full one for computer science." Mom smiled vaguely. "Oh, that's nice." Then turned back to the soccer talk. That was the moment I knew for sure I was done. We drove home, everyone tired from the day. Marcus tried talking to me about the car, about maybe sharing it sometimes. I said, "It's yours. Don't worry about it." I went to my room, grabbed the envelope with my saved-up cash, and started packing a duffel bag. Luna had already talked to her cousin in the city about me crashing on his couch for a while. Job leads, bus routes, everything lined up. I didn't slam doors or make speeches, I just packed. Around midnight, Dad knocked. "What are you doing?" "Leaving tomorrow," I said. He frowned. "You don't have to rush out, we can help you get set up." I zipped the bag. "I've got it covered." He stood there like he wanted to say something else but didn't. Eventually, he walked away. I left at sunrise while everyone slept, slipped the watch back on the kitchen counter, took the bus to the city with George helping carry my stuff. Luna met us there with coffee and a smile that felt like a fresh start. I didn't text my parents when I got to the new place. I didn't post about it online. I just unpacked my things, sat on the lumpy couch, and let the silence settle in. It felt like the first real choice I'd made for myself. That fall, I started at the State University on the full tuition scholarship, commuting from our apartment and taking a lot of classes online so I could keep working. I stayed away for months after moving out. No calls, no visits, nothing. Luna and I built our own little life in the city. Cheap apartment, secondhand furniture, long hours at work, but it felt like ours. Then came the message from Mom. "Family cookout next Saturday, everyone's coming. Marcus will be there too." I ignored it at first. Then Marcus texted me, "Just come, man, it's been a while." He didn't beg, just said he wanted me there. Said maybe things would be different. I wasn't convinced, but Luna thought maybe it was worth showing up. So we went. The backyard was full when we arrived. Cousins, neighbors, even some of Marcus's old teammates. Big table piled with food, music playing, kids running around. Dad was by the grill, Mom directing traffic like she owned the place. We said hello to a few people, found a spot near the edge. Marcus came over grinning. "Glad you made it," he said. He didn't look fake about it either. I told him thanks. He leaned closer. "You going to do it today?" "Yeah," I said. My hand went to my pocket where the ring was. Luna didn't know exactly when I planned to propose, just that it would be today. I figured doing it here might be a step toward making peace. Maybe show my parents I was serious about my own life. An hour in, people started settling with plates of food. Kids sat on the grass, adults in lawn chairs. I got up, cleared my throat. "Hey everyone," I said, "can I get your attention for a minute?" People turned. Luna looked confused, then realized what was happening. I started talking about how much she meant to me, how she stuck with me through everything. My voice shook a little, but I kept going. I pulled the ring from my pocket and got down on one knee. That's when Dad walked over. He didn't smile. He didn't clap. He just reached down, took the ring right out of my hand, held it up like it was his. "Let's not waste this," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Save it for Marcus. He'll be married first, like he should be." The whole yard went silent. Luna froze. My ears rang. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell over. "What the hell, Dad?" Dad waved him off. "I'm just saying you're the one with a real future, career stability. You should be the first to start a family, not your brother here still figuring things out." I stood up. "Give me the ring." Mom came over, arms crossed. "Your father's right, Lucas. It's too soon for you. You barely have anything saved. Marriage takes money. Planning. Marcus is settled. It makes sense for him to go first." Marcus moved between us. "You two need to stop. He loves her. That's enough reason." Dad scoffed. "Love doesn't pay bills. Marcus knows that. He thinks ahead. That's why we support him the way we do." I felt my hands shake. "You mean the way you never supported me?" Mom snapped back instantly. "Oh, here we go again. Always playing the victim." We gave you what we could. Marcus turned on her. No, you didn't. Don't even try that. I saw it my whole life. Him getting scraps while I got everything. Dad's face reddened. You earned what you got. He didn't. I laughed, but it wasn't funny. Yeah, I forgot the part where being born less athletic means I deserved nothing. Mom raised her voice. You think life's been unfair to you? We kept a roof over your head, food on the table. Plenty of parents do less. Plenty of parents don't humiliate their kid in front of 50 people. Marcus shot back. Give him the damn ring. Dad still held it like it was his to give. He's not ready. Luna finally spoke. Her voice was calm but sharp. With all due respect, this isn't your decision. If Lucas isn't ready, that's for him to figure out, not you. Some relatives shifted uncomfortably. A few walked toward the house like they didn't want to watch. I stepped closer. Last time. Give me the ring. Dad stared at me for a long second, then finally dropped it in my hand. Fine, he said. Throw your life away if you want. I put it back in my pocket. My hands were steady now. I'll throw away your opinion before I throw away my life. Marcus muttered, good, under his breath. Mom shook her head like she couldn't believe we were all ungrateful. One day you'll realize we were right, she said. I looked at Marcus. Did you ever ask to be first for any of this? He shook his head. Never. I just wanted to play soccer. I didn't ask for the car, the money, the attention. I told them more than once to split things fair. They didn't listen. Dad pointed at him. You deserved it, Marcus. Don't act like you didn't. Marcus looked tired suddenly. Maybe I did, but so did he. Nobody said anything after that. The music had stopped. Kids were staring. Luna touched my arm gently, like asking if I still wanted to do this.
I shook my head. Not today. We left without eating.
Marcus followed us to the driveway. I'm sorry, he said. They're impossible sometimes. I told him it wasn't his fault, but in my head, I knew things had just broken in a way they wouldn't fix anytime soon. After the Cookout disaster, I blocked my parents on everything. Calls, texts, social media, gone. Luna didn't argue. She just nodded like she'd been waiting for me to finally cut the cord. Marcus tried reaching out a couple of times, apologizing for them, saying he didn't agree with any of it. I believed him. He was the only one in that house who ever seemed to notice the way things really were. But I didn't go back. I poured everything into work and school. I was still at the grocery store part-time, but I started doing computer repair gigs for cash. George spread the word around, and soon I had enough clients to quit the store job. Luna worked mornings at the bakery and evenings helping a catering company. We barely saw each other some days, but when we did, it felt like progress. Bills got paid on time. We even saved a little each month. I enrolled at the state university on the full tuition scholarship, stacking evening and online CS classes while working. Nothing fancy at first, just intro courses, but it felt like I was finally heading somewhere. Every time I fixed a laptop or wrote a small script that actually worked, it felt like I was peeling away another layer of my parents' voices telling me I wasn't good enough. We had this tiny apartment, over a laundromat. The walls were thin and the plumbing rattled when someone upstairs showered, but it was ours. Luna found a couch on some yard sale app for $20. George helped carry it up the stairs, grumbling the whole way, but refusing to let me lift the heavy side. You're the brains, he said, wiping sweat off his forehead. I'm the brawn. The thing sagged in the middle, but it was better than sitting on the floor. One night, after a long day, Luna came home with a bag of day-old bread from the bakery like she always did. We sat on the couch eating sandwiches and talking about maybe doing a small wedding. Nothing big, just her family, George, a couple of close friends. Your parents won't like that, she said carefully. I laughed. They're not invited. She didn't push back. She knew why. We booked the courthouse date 2 weeks later. I texted Marcus directly the next day. Hey, I wrote small wedding coming up. Just us, Luna's family, George. No drama. You're welcome if you want. He called right away. You sure about inviting me? If Mom and Dad find out? They won't, I said. It's your choice, man. I just want you there if you can make it. Marcus paused for a second. I'll try. Seriously, I want to be there.
On the morning of the wedding, he called again. Lucas.
I'm stuck out of town for work. Won't make it back in time. I'm sorry, man. It's fine, I said. No pressure. I'm proud of you, he said. Ignore whatever they think. Do your thing. After his first season, he left state and took a field rep job with a sporting goods company. The role kept him on the road most weeks, bouncing between schools and tournaments. So, it ended up just being Luna's family, George, and a couple of friends. Courthouse vows, simple rings, photos on someone's phone. George was my witness. Her mom cried happy tears. My side of the aisle was empty, and honestly, it didn't bother me at all. When we got back to her parents' place for dinner, my phone buzzed. Marcus, congrats, man. I wish I was there. You deserve this. I believed him. A week after the wedding, Marcus called me. They know, he said. I didn't tell them. Someone in the family must have. Mom's been pacing all morning. Dad's on a warpath. I wasn't surprised. I figured they'd find out eventually. I didn't expect the knock on our apartment door that night, though. It was them. Dad and Mom standing in the hallway like they owned the place. Luna froze beside me. Married? Dad started before he even stepped inside. You went and got married behind our backs? Yeah, I said. We did. Mom's voice was sharp. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Sneaking off like criminals? I laughed once. Everything you've done for me, like the cookout, like graduation? Dad cut in louder now. You embarrassed this family. Marriage isn't some backyard game, Lucas. You think you can just run off with the first girl who says yes? Luna spoke up then. Actually, it's our life, not yours. Mom ignored her completely. Marcus would have done this right. Big ceremony, proper announcements, family involved, not this secret little stunt. Marcus, who'd come with them, finally snapped. Would you stop comparing everything to me? He doesn't owe you a show. None of this is about you. Dad turned on him. Don't start. You know, we expected better from both of you. Marcus stepped forward. No, you expected control. That's all this is. He didn't do it your way, so now you're throwing a fit. Mom shook her head like he was speaking another language. Families are supposed to be involved in these decisions. I said families are supposed to support their kids. You never did that for me. Not once. Dad pointed at me. We kept food on the table. That's the bare minimum, Marcus shot back. You want a trophy for feeding him? The room went dead quiet after that. Mom's eyes narrowed. One day you'll both regret this, cutting us out like we're strangers. I said maybe, but it won't be today. They left without another word, the door slamming behind them. Marcus stayed behind, looking tired. I'm sorry, man, they just don't get it. I told him it wasn't on him to apologize. He wasn't the problem. The next few months blurred into work, classes, and fixing up the apartment. I bought a second-hand desk for $50 and set up a little workspace in the corner. Started taking on more complex repair jobs. Some nights I stayed up late watching tutorials, Luna asleep on the couch beside me. Marcus visited once bringing takeout. He looked around the apartment like he was seeing my life for the first time. Mom says you're ignoring them, he said carefully. I shrugged. They earned it. He nodded. Yeah, they did. Summer came and with it bigger repair jobs. A small business hired me to fix their office computers. Paid well too. Enough that Luna and I started looking at bigger apartments someplace not over a laundromat. One evening, we sat on the couch eating cheap takeout when George came by with a used bookshelf he found online. We set it up in the corner, and Luna filled it with secondhand books and a couple of framed photos from the wedding. It was the first time our place actually felt like a home. Then out of nowhere, Marcus called one night. His voice was tight. Dad had a heart attack, he said. He's in the hospital. For a second, I didn't say anything. Marcus went on. He's okay. They say it wasn't massive, but they want to see you. Luna looked at me from across the room, waiting. I told Marcus I'd think about it and hung up. I didn't owe them anything, but part of me wanted to hear whatever excuse they had left. The next afternoon, I walked into the hospital room. Dad was sitting up in bed, pale but awake. Mom was in the chair beside him, arms crossed, looking like she was holding a grudge against the air itself. Marcus stood near the window. He gave me a quick nod. Dad cleared his throat. You came. I'm not here for small talk, I said. Say what you need to say. Mom glared at me, but Marcus spoke first. Maybe just let him talk, okay? Dad looked down at his hands. We only ever wanted one child, he said finally. We found out we were having twins, and it wasn't the plan. I didn't move. So, he said slowly, we decided early on we'd keep one, the stronger one, the one we thought had the best shot. I felt my jaw tighten. You mean Marcus? He nodded like it was a fact, not an apology. You were smaller, sick a lot as a baby. We even had a family lined up to adopt you. Marcus turned from the window. You never told me that. Dad rubbed his face. They backed out, said they couldn't split twins. After that, no one else wanted to take just one baby, so we kept you both. And treated us like we weren't equal, I said. He didn't argue. We thought focusing on Marcus made sense. He was healthy, athletic, people liked him. We figured giving him more would pay off for the family. Mom finally spoke. "We gave you a home. We didn't have to do more than that," Marcus snapped then. "Do you even hear yourselves? You treated him like a spare part." Dad looked at him tiredly. "We thought changing things later would hurt you. You were used to the attention. He wasn't. We didn't want to disrupt what worked." I laughed once. Sharp and ugly. Worked for who? Certainly not for me. Dad winced but didn't back down. "After the heart attack, I booked us with a family therapist. It was my idea. We see it now. The favoritism, the damage. We were wrong." I stared at him. "You think admitting this erases it?" "No," he said. "But I don't want to leave things like this. I don't want to go without you knowing the truth." Mom still hadn't softened. "We did what we thought was best. You don't have to like it." Marcus turned on her. "Best for who, Mom? Because it sure wasn't best for him or me, honestly. You think I liked being the golden child? You made me feel like if I ever screwed up, I'd lose everything too." That shut her up for the first time all day. I looked at Marcus. "Did you know any of this?" He shook his head. "I knew they were unfair. I didn't know they tried to give you away." Dad leaned back against the pillows like the confession had taken everything out of him. "I can't undo it. I just want a chance to make things right now." I stood there for a long moment. "You don't get to decide that." "I do." He nodded slowly. "I understand." I turned to leave, but Marcus stopped me at the door. "You okay?" "No," I said, "but I'm done letting them control the story." We walked out together, leaving our parents in that room with their choices. A few months passed after the hospital visit. I kept my distance. They had their confession, and I had my answer. That didn't erase anything. Life moved on. Luna and I found a slightly bigger apartment closer to the bus lines. After a couple of semesters, I got a steady IT job through one of the small businesses I'd done freelance work for. Paid enough to cover bills, savings, and even a decent used car. Then Marcus called one evening. "I'm getting engaged," he said. I told him, "Congratulations," and I meant it. He hesitated before adding, "They want you there, Mom and Dad. They said they'll behave." I laughed quietly. "That'll be the day." He sighed. "Look, I get it. I really do. But I want you there because you're my brother, not because of them." So Luna and I went. The engagement party was huge. Catered food, music, people dressed like it was a wedding already. Dad and Mom were there, but they kept their distance at first. They'd been in counseling since the hospital, and for once, it actually showed. Marcus spotted us, grinning. "You made it," he said, hugging me like he hadn't done since we were kids. Luna handed his fiancée a small gift we'd picked out together. They both looked genuinely happy. Halfway through the night, Dad finally came over. He looked older than I remembered. "Lucas," he said carefully, "thanks for coming." I nodded. "I'm here for Marcus." He didn't argue. Didn't try to make it about him. That was new. Mom came next. "We'd like to meet Luna properly sometime," she said. Her voice wasn't warm, but it wasn't icy either. Luna gave a polite smile. "Maybe." It was the kind of answer that said, "You're not owed this." Later, Marcus pulled me aside. The music was loud, people laughing in the background. "I need to say something," he said. "I know you went through hell with them. I saw it. I didn't stop it enough. I was the favorite and I let it slide because it was easier for me." "You were a kid," I said. "It wasn't your job to fix it." "Still," he said, shaking his head, "you deserve better. Way better." I told him the truth. "I don't want an apology from you. I just want us to be brothers without all the garbage they built between us." He nodded slowly. "I want that too." It was the first real conversation we'd had as equals. Toward the end of the night, Dad finally approached me. "I know we can't change the past," he said, voice low, "but we'd like to be part of your life now, both of you, if you'll let us." I looked him dead in the eye. "Here's how this goes. No insults, no comparisons. You treat me, Luna, and any kids we might have with respect every time. No slip-ups, no excuses. You show up right, or you don't show up at all." He nodded slowly. "And understand this," I added. My voice stayed steady, but there was no give in it. "This isn't me asking for anything. I built my life without you. I don't need a redo. You want to be in it, you follow my rules. You earn your place. Otherwise, stay out." He didn't argue. Couldn't. For once, they just listened. On the drive home, Luna asked how I felt. Lighter, I said, and I meant it. We got back to our apartment and unpacked the leftovers Marcus sent with us. I hung up the one decent photo someone took of us at the wedding. Me, Luna, Marcus, his fiancée, all smiling like normal people. The next weekend, I built a bookshelf for the second bedroom we were turning into an office. Hung my old scholarship certificate above it. Straight this time, not crooked like it used to be at my parents' place, not because I needed to prove anything anymore, but because it was mine, and this was my life now. Over the next year, my parents called a few times, never demanding, never insulting, sometimes just to ask how work was going or to wish Luna happy birthday. I didn't trust it right away, but I noticed they actually listened now. They sent Christmas cards for the first time ever, wrote both our names on them. It didn't fix things. Some stuff doesn't get fixed, but it made life quieter, cleaner. Marcus got married that spring, big wedding, all the family there, even us. No speeches comparing us, no weird tension. Just a normal day where nobody was fighting for once. At the reception, he raised his glass and said, "To my brother Lucas for showing me what standing your ground looks like." People clapped. I didn't make a speech back. I just clinked my glass with Luna's and enjoyed the moment. Back home that night, Luna asked if I thought things were better now. Better? I said, not perfect, but better. I didn't need more than that. Because the truth was, I'd already built my own life, one they couldn't control, couldn't take credit for, couldn't ruin, and that was enough.